Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Conversations with Luciana, the house that Luciana has built, where everyone has a place at the table. If you're a new listener, I bring you greetings and salutations. If you are a returning listener, welcome back, family. Real talk on real issues, real life situations. Keep in mind, advice is never given, but opinions and a new perspective is always welcome. You can find me on most podcast streaming services as well as YouTube under Conversations with Luciana. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Make sure to turn on your notifications to know when the next Conversation with Luciana are posted. My posting schedule is as follows: Motivational Monday, Inspirational Empowerment Tuesday, Open Forum Thursday, Coffee and Tea with Luciana on Sundays. YouTube exclusives are on Mondays and Saturdays. If you would like to submit a topic of conversation or be a guest on a podcast episode of Conversations with Luciana, email me at conversationswithluciana@gmail.com. Look forward to speaking with you soon. Have a good one. Let's go. I'm going to take y'all way back. I'm going to take y'all way back to that period in your life where you can remember laughing more than you did crying. Before there was social media, Facebook, Snapchat, MySpace, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, before all of that, we had this thing called a slam book. A slam book. Now, it's not what you think. It's not what you think, slam, where you just go in there trashing people. No, no, no. No, 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 no. It wasn't that at all. I don't even remember how it went, but I remember certain things in it. But it was, you print or write in cursive. It was open to men and women, boys and girls, whatever. And you was not open to everybody. So that means it wasn't like everybody in the high school or junior high school had access to that book. It was just a select few people in that social group, right? And so all you did was you wrote in and you passed it around. You passed it around until it got back to that person. And the person, if you didn't return, that person would come looking for that slam book because who was the last one that had it. You wrote things in it. Again, it wasn't what you guys think where you trashing people. It's just things that you wrote, your ideas, your dreams, your, what was going on. It was a time where it was all good. It was all fun. Remember, I don't know if you did this in your high school, but remember when the yearbook and you had the best dress, most likely to succeed, cutest smile, best physique. That was our, what do you call that, reels, where, you just put it in Facebook and people, yearbook, and people wrote in it, your yearbook. And some people didn't make the cut, but you never intentionally bashed anyone in the yearbook or in the slam book. You just didn't do it. You had most likely to succeed, most conceited. Some of those people didn't really deserve to be in that yearbook like that, because I think it went sometimes to, I guess our controversy was it went to the most popular, right? Not actually the person that it should have went to, but who cares? I didn't want to be, or most people, the people that I hung around didn't really want to be in that, immortalized in that yearbook, because some people wrote some effed up stuff in the yearbook about people. They wrote in the back, sign my yearbook, and that was it. Remember the time. Remember when I remember there was tragedies in my era where I went to school, where there were some people that are no longer here, that life was cut short, very tragically. I mean, last time I remember seeing someone was on the last day of school and everybody was leaving, and it was like, okay, summer's here and whatnot, we're gonna go about our business. And and then I remember, wasn't maybe 2 weeks after a 11th grade year classmate. I went to junior high school, went to high school with that person, was killed tragically. Tragically. She was just gone. And we have some losses. We didn't have where you created these, memorial. It was just sad. It was just sad that that person was no longer here. It went from guys to people that you knew, that were never seen adulthood. You know, it used to be rare. It wasn't as rampant as it is now. It was rare. It was unusual for the senseless violence that is happening now. Back then, it was just like everybody knew who did it, and it wasn't this code that snitches get stitches. It was just like you just didn't do it. If you wasn't from a certain part of town, you didn't go down there. You just didn't go. But it was a happier time. I remember when you could walk down the sidewalk. Now you can't because people have made their homes on the sidewalk. I remember down the street where I used to live, you had to go maybe 4 houses down, and then there was some type of business. There was a business on there, and then it was a corner store or a liquor store. But this was different about this one, particular one. It was owned by some man, and it was like actually, a nice, clean store that sold alcohol and candy and things of that nature. And you knew the person behind the counter. It wasn't a teenager. It was somebody you knew. It was just like, Mr. Gregory or Miss Ann, somebody like that. But they knew you in that neighborhood. Remember when children had a neighborhood. You had a neighborhood. You had a sense of community, right? But again, things that make you smile, make you think like, damn, there was some good times. There were some really, really good times. You made lasting friendships. I remember that we had this, it was a code. It was an unspoken code, but everybody knew you didn't date your friend's ex. You just didn't do it. Now, social media, you can marry your sister ex-husband. They don't care. But there was a rule that you just didn't do it. You just didn't do it. Girls were raised as little ladies, and boys were raised to be men. Now, some people's childhood was, horrific. It was hard, and I'm not diminishing that. Some people, my childhood was, a traditional childhood, but at least I had one. And a group of my friends and people, we did have a childhood. We did know what it was like to make friends and make those relationships last. Now, granted, when I left high school, I left some of the people there. Some of my friendships ended, and I went on to adult things, and I made new friends. But I never lost my sense of who and where, who I was and where I came from. I wasn't a product of my environment, so to speak. It was just a product of a good upbringing. Some of the stories that I heard now as an adult, it shocked me. It really shocked me. I didn't know that people were experience that type of turmoil in their lives. But, I always said, to a person that was telling me, your mother or your father did the best they could with what they had, and they made sure that you went to school and that you had food. And to hear some people say they never really had a childhood, they never had food on their table, it kind of breaks my heart. It makes me feel like, I was blessed. I was blessed, and I didn't think myself to be better than anyone. Sorry, you guys, I have to adjust the mic. Mic check, 1 2 1 2. Mic check, 1 2 1 2. I remember, what is that movie that came out? And everybody, I wasn't in that generation, but I remember, I think it was Apollonia or Nasty Girls. That was the closest thing that we had to like a, or Grace Jones, like a Megan Stallion or something. Not knocking her, she got to get her paper, whatever. But I remember, what was that movie? Purple Rain. Remember that? And what is that thing? It was a movie that came out, and instead of fighting, the game was dancing, break dancing. And I remember that people, I think of my sister age group, they were all dressing with the earring in their ear and these hats and the lace gloves. It was just, it was just that, and some people never grew out of that, and that was fine. You didn't call them weird, you know, they were just different. There was no judgment, really. There was no, judgment. You weren't dealt that harsh reality of life, and I think, you were able to adjust to adulthood because of that. Now, some people I know that grew up very angry and very bitter, and because they didn't have when they were growing up, they decided they was going to take it by force as an adult, and that's just a child acting out. But again, remember your sense of wonder. Remember your lack of fear. You didn't know how to twirl on those monkey bars, but you found a way. You might have failed, but you lived to see another day, right? You explored things. You wanted to know how to fix something. Remember, they had a wood shop, and they had. You remember? I think there was a person in my junior high school with a teacher who had wood shop, and he had no fingers, and on one hand, and I thought that was very odd. But nevertheless, he taught the class. I guess he was learning. Do as I say, not as I do, so you won't be Mr. Nubs. Mr. Nubs. I'm a homemaker. Homemaking class. What was it called? Home. I don't even remember. I'm so old telling my age, but it was homemaker class or something like that. Homeroom. I remember homeroom, but it was like where you were taught how to cook and things of that nature. Accounting, a class which taught you how to balance and write a checkbook. But again, nowadays you have everything, automated at your fingertips, and you don't know nothing. You just know what the computer tells you, and the computer could be telling you wrong, and you don't know because it looks good and it says it's right, and you Google it instead of researching it. Look, that was a different story. I am talking to you guys like you guys are right across from me. I just, I had to adjust the mic check 1 2. I'm gonna do that because I was just doing that. But I remember talent shows, and I remember things that just made you, feel good. I remember watching TV and being able to watch TV with your parents, But nowadays, there's some things I don't even watch. I just can't watch because it's too much. Kids are growing up way too fast. Again, but anyway, you never lose your sense of wonder. And if you did, you need to find it. You have to remember the good times, You have to remember the things that made you laugh, I remember my father brought home this peanut butter. I thought it was the best thing. It was Goobers, right? It was Goobers, and it was like strawberry and peanut butter together. It wasn't the Jiffy, but you guys remember that old-fashioned peanut butter? It was like oily on top, and you spread it on. You had to get Wonder Bread when Wonder Bread was Wonder Bread. Remember the Wonder Bread Bakery? If you guys lived in California in the Bay Area, it was the Wonder Bread Bakery, and you can smell the bread. I remember where my grandmother lived, and she still lives over there. And it was a Granny Goose factory where they made chips. And, there were factory jobs, and everybody knew. I think I talked about it. Everybody knew people that worked there. But I remember smelling the bread from the freeway, and you would just roll down the window and just want to smell. Now everything is just like, I don't know where they bake that bread at, but it's not the same. But you have to remember the time in order for you really to understand, you know, a generation, you have to live through some things, and some people feel entitled. I never felt entitled to what my sisters had or my parents had. I was just a moment, enjoying the moment in which I was, the season in which I was growing up in. And they were good, bad, but we lived to see it. We lived to talk. We lived to talk about it. Um, Never losing sight of who we are. We knew we had an identity, and I think that's what's missing now. People don't know who they are, and they're trying to become what they see on social media or TV, and that's not you. That is not you. And unfortunately, because we left the door open for almost anything goes, you left, that door unlocked, and people are coming through and they're pushing their agenda, but you gotta hold on to your children should need to hold on to their innocence as long as they can, right? As long as they can. Bring back Saturday morning cartoons. Bring back Sunday dinners where people came together. Soul food was a real thing in my house. That movie, that was a real thing in my house. We used to have Sunday dinners or Saturday night dinners once a week. Everybody would come over and they would just eat. And you caught up with your cousins and your aunts, and everybody cooked and the food was good, to bring back that, and now when you are as an adult and you go over those people houses, now you can speak up for yourself. It's like, ooh, don't you just love my potato salad? No, I don't like your potato salad. I don't know why you put ketchup in your potato salad. That's an abomination. It's a catastrophe. Or you have, that aunt that wear all that jewelry, that wear all that perfume. This is my go-to girl, Gina Tate. Do they still make that? You can light a match that and burn yourself up. Gina Tate. You just, or that powder. I couldn't stand that powder. It wasn't baby powder. I think it was Gina Tate. I don't know. It was just like you knew they was coming because you could smell them. It's like, they had all that jewelry on, and, you know, don't go in the bathroom messing around. You might see grandma other teeth in there. I'll just be like, ugh, I lost my whole appetite. But you remember the summers when you went to the beach and you had a picnic and everybody got together. It wasn't somebody coming in. Everybody was dressed. Not knocking y'all, but everybody was dressed. You couldn't come in or come around your grandmother looking, kind of way. Because they'll say, what's wrong with you? Go put some clothes on. Or they'll tell you, if you out there, sneaking off, where your little fast ass at? Bring your ass over, sit down. But that's what it is. They didn't want you to grow up so quickly. They wanted you to enjoy being a kid, right? You remember that. You guys remember that. It's just, you just, sometimes you just have to remember and not forget, and that will center you, you know. It really will. I wonder if somebody would put together a slam book again, the adult version, but it'd probably be something off the chain now. And, it'd probably be more, it wouldn't be the same because, again, people have changed the game or reinvented. And you know what? We lost our sense of direction. Everybody deserved to have a childhood. Everybody deserved to grow up into an adulthood. We all make mistakes. But, even our parents. But they're human just like us. But you have to remember, bring back certain things that gave us a foundation. When they say it takes a village to raise a child or children, it does. It takes all of us. It really, truly does. And some of the generation that's, above us, the ones y'all call old, we look better than y'all. Y'all walk around with teethless. All the marks in your face. I'm not knocking y'all. Y'all just had a hard life. And I understand circumstances cause you to have that. Some had to grow up really quickly, but you can't blame, continue to blame others for choices that you made. Straighten up and fly right, right? But yeah, I think there is a movement to bring back. Remember on Sunday they used to have, and I couldn't stand it because it was like almost like the sound of music. But they would have, you saw the show, then you can sit down and actually watch a TV show with your parents. It was something crazy that would be on, and you can watch that. You knew it. You got to decompress. From everything, and I guess that's what helped us become balanced. Is because we were allowed to be children, but we were also allowed to just escape. We weren't rushed into being an adult and the problems that came with it. Now some did, some did, and you made it through, and you're tough as nails, right? But you don't hold on to bitterness and resentment, because again, different times cause different situations, and I'm pretty sure our parents that were born in their 40s and 50s, what they endured. They probably didn't want us to go through it, and then we don't want our children to go through what some of the things that we did, but they wanted to protect, and we wanted to protect them and give them that sense of wonder, to dream, and to know that, they were appreciated and loved and cared for. Somebody cared for you. Somebody wiped that snot from your nose. Somebody told you about the birds and the bees. Somebody, took that time to tell you, don't do that. Don't go over there. Somebody did that. So let's have some, let's remember, let's have a moment, not a moment, a moment of silence to remember the time when being a kid or child was fun and entertaining and normal. Remember, I guarantee you'll smile and you'll think about that throughout your day, and you will laugh like, whoo-wee. If social media was around when we were kids, we had the slam book that no adult ever saw. But now, shoot, some of us will be beaten alive, just beaten alive with the stuff that we did back then. It's on social media. Remember, young people, social media is evidence. It's a digital footprint to your bullshit and your shenanigans. Don't get caught on camera with the foolery. All right, y'all. I appreciate you. Go watch Sesame Street. What was that song with Sesame Street? I'm rambling now, but I'm not. What was that? Sesame Street? I don't know. I am not going to butcher that word, but remember. See, you guys can laugh like, what is she talking about? Just have your sense of wonder and laugh more. I'm out. Peace. Thank you for listening to another podcast episode of Conversations with A. Luciana. I look forward to speaking with you again. Until then, be kind to yourself and others. Make every day your best day. Stay encouraged and press forward, for the best is yet to come. Peace, and I'm out. Let's go!